Good morning, a little bit of Amigurumi today. We're going to be doing this little spaceship here, which is a real cutie. Perhaps a little gift for somebody to sit on their side, or perhaps for a child to play with. If it is going to be for a child, I would recommend do not sew beads on, depending on the age of the child, of course. I would recommend stitching on detail. I think it's best to be safe than sorry. We don't want anybody eating anything, do we? So this is the spaceship we're going to be doing. This is the yarn I'm going to do it in. I've already started some of it, which I'll show you in a second. It is just a double knit yarn. It's a mixture of brands, so it's just some random colours that I had. We also have some toy grade stuffing here. I think I've got more than enough stuff in there, but you don't need too much, but there's some stuff in there. We're going to be using a 3.5mm crochet hook, and I have a few details and bits and bobs. I have the beads, stitch marker, we need a stitch marker for this one, and obviously my needles, etc. And my scissors, of course. So I can move them to one side because we don't need them, and we don't need the stuffing just yet. And I'm going to show you what I've already started. Now, as you can see, he has some little bobble feet. So I've gone for a slightly brighter colour this time because I wanted to brighten it up a little bit. So I've already done 2 of these because you don't need to see me do 3. So those are the 2 I've already done, and we will do the 3rd one in a little while, and then we will deal with sewing it on. So that is the little bit of yellow yarn I have for that. So again, pop that to one side, and as you can see, the top and the bottom are done in 2 pieces here, and then we crochet them together, creating this little design as we go round. It's just a little picot there. Well, it's not even a picot really, it's just 3 chain and back. And obviously we have the little dome there as well. I've already done one of these because this and this are exactly the same, so you just need 2 of the same thing to actually do. So I thought rather than you have to watch me do both, because I'd rather go into the detail of sewing it together, I've already got one here. Now I'll just pop my little spaceship down. As you can see, it comes out with some nice straight sides. Now sometimes that is something you don't want. In this case it is something you do want, because as you can see, where we have the little points are where the little points here are, so it gives you an idea where you're going to be marking it out. So counting is quite important with this particular one. So we're going to get on with the other half of this first and then see how it goes. Now I've done them in 2 slightly different sort of bluey greens, so this time I've gone for that. So we've got 2 slightly different colours there. So I'll pop them to one side and we'll get going with this one. I'll take the ball band off. I regret doing that most of the time, but it gets in my way, and so I'd rather it not be there. So my wool's a bit of a mess now, but never mind. So we're going to be starting with this. We'll move slightly over there. We're going to have our slip knot as per usual. Make sure it does slip. It makes a difference because it means you can tighten that middle up nicely onto the hook there. And like with most of my amigurumi, we're going to start with 2 chain. So we have 1 and 2. Now into that first chain we're going to make our 6 double crochet. Please remember I'm using UK terms here, so if you do need a conversion chart, I know there's loads out there on the internet, and you do get used to it after a while. So into that first chain, 6 double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And yes, you've probably guessed it, we're going to do 2 double crochets into each of the next one. So this is the first one here. If you're not sure, I'll take my hook out just to point it out. Count from the back. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's number 6, because sometimes it is quite hard to sort of see which the first one is, and if you go into the wrong one you're going to start adding stitches on. Let me pull that out a little bit so I can get it back in. There you go. So we're going to do 2 double crochets into each of those crochets now. So into the first one, it's always awkward to get into, so here we go. So that is 1 in the first one, that is 2 in the first one. Into our next one we have 1, we have 2. This is number 3. We have 1. We have 2. Number 4. We have 1 and 2. Number 5. 1 and 2. And number 6. Little hair caught there. 1 and 2. So we now have 12 stitches. I'm going to pull this bit now just to tighten up that center. You see how it tightens it up. Now if you've got a slip stitch, a slip knot, should I say, not a slip stitch, you can tighten that up. If it won't tighten up, don't over worry, you can always sew that bit in at a later stage. So we now have 12. We're going to do that 2 in each again, so we're going to end up with 24. So into our first one, so 2 in each of the 12. That's 2 in number 1, 2 in number 2, 2 in number 3, and that is number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, nearly there, 9, 10, 11, and our last one, number 12. So we now have 24 double crochets around. We're now going to start, it doesn't show initially, but this is where we're going to show where the sides are going to come in. So we do need to count. I am going to use a stitch marker now. You don't have to. If you've got sort of a bit of quiet time, I would recommend you just count it, because then you know you're 100% exact. Sometimes with the stitch marker, because you do have to keep moving it, remember, it can sort of mislead you, so you do have to be careful. I have my faithful pen here because I'm going to mark out as I do each section to make sure I do it correctly for you. Right, now our first round is going to be 2 in the first one, and then 1 in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. And you're going to repeat that round 6 times. So are we ready? So 2 into the first one, 2 double crochets into that first stitch, and then 1 in each of the next 3. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So that is our first set. Now if you want to be really straight, you can write that down. I'm going to write it down. Then we're going to have 2 in our next one. 1, 2, then 1 in each of the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, nearly dropped my hook. So that is my second one. We're going to have 2 in the next one, and then 1 in each of the next 3. We have 1, 2, and 3. So that's our third set. 2 in the next one, and 1 in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. So that is number 4. We're going to do 2 in the next one. You'll see how the pattern works after a while. And then 1 in the next 3, should I say? I said 3 then, didn't I? 1 in the next 3. So that's our 5th. So you can see we're nearly there. So that seems to be right. So we do 2 in the next one, and 1 in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3, and we are round exactly in position for the stitch marker. I'm not going to move the stitch marker yet. I'm going to do a couple of rounds, then I will move it up to make sure we are getting it right. Now the next round, so we are now on, I will just double check because I've not written what rows I'm on here. So I have 1, 2, 3. That was round 4 that we've just done. So for round 5, I will be writing these patterns up, by the way, so you will be able to purchase them on my website and my YouTube patterns. I nearly said tutorials. My YouTube patterns are usually a little bit cheaper as well, so if you want to pop over onto Octopudding, you can have a look at the patterns I have there. So we're now going to do our next round, which is going to be 2 in the first one, and I think you're probably going to guess this, 1 in each of the next 4 times 6. Off we go. So we have a 2, and then a 1, 2, 3 and a 4. As I say, you can write it down if you want. We have 2 in the next one, and then 1 in the next 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that was our second one. We have 2 in the next one, and then 1 in the next 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that was number 3. We're halfway there. 2 in our next one, 1 in the next 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and that was number 4. So we have 2 more sets like this. You can start to see the sides are starting to flatten off as well. So we have 2 and then 1 in the next 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we should have 1 more, and you can see we're quite close to the stitch marker, so that's worked out right. So we have 2 in the next one, and then 1 in the next 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Perfect. And we're still in line with the stitch marker, but I am going to move it up. I'm going to be strict and move it up quite regular, because like I say, it can make a difference. So stitch marker in place. So we have just done 1 in each of the 4. For our round 6, it's going to roughly the same pattern. We're just increasing the amount in between. So it's going to be 2 in 1 and then 1 in 5. I nearly did 5 like that then. So 2 in the first one, 1 and 2, and 1 in each of the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 2 in our next one, so it's an increase, which is what's giving us these little corners, and then 1 in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let me just move the yarn a bit. I don't want it dropping off the table, so I'm trying to be careful on winding it. So 2 in the next one, and 1 in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Oh, we're getting there. Can you definitely see how it's flattening now? So you know you're doing it right if you're getting those flattened sides. So 2 in the next one, and then 1 in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Got 2 more to go. So we have 2 in the next one, and 1 in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We have 1 more set, 2 in the next one, and then just 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and spot on with the stitch marker. So that was our round 6. I'll mark that off. We are now going on to round 7, and round 7 again is going to be the same. We're going to have 2 in 1, but then we're going to have 6 along the side. So you can see we're increasing sort of each time. So if you did want to make it a bit bigger, that's the way that you would do it, because we're only going to go up to 8 on each side, but you could go 9, 10, 11. You can make it bigger if you wish. So here we go. This is going to be 2 in 1 and 1 in 6. So 2 in that first one, and then 6 individuals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then 2 in the next one. 1 and 2, and then 1 in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 2 in the next one. 1 and 2, then 6 individuals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, halfway there. 2 in the next one, and 1 in the next 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 2 in the next one, 1, 2, and 1 in each 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We have another one for 2. This is our last one for 2. 1 and then 2. Yarn's rolling about a bit, and 1 in each of the next 6. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and we are round again. So that was our round 7. Now round 8, roughly the same patterning again, 2 in 1, but this time 1 in each of the 7. So we're nearly there, look, we're nearly there for this. 2 in 1, 1 in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. That's our first one. So another one, 2 in 1, 1 in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Another 2, 2 in 1, 1 in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. You can start to see where you're going to be doing the 2 in 1, because there'll be like a little sort of, not a point, but it sort of points a little bit there. So 2 in 1, 1 in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We're almost there, I think. We've got 2 more, haven't we? So 2 in 1, 1 in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And our last one coming up, 2 in 1, 1 in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we're round. We have one more round to do, and it's going to follow exactly the same pattern. So this is our round 9, and it's going to be 2 in 1 and 1 in 8. So it's just the same. So we'll go for it. I'm not going to move the stitch marker for the sake of the last round. So we have 2 in 1, 1 in 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. That is our first one. Doing the next one. 1 in the next 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 2 in the next one. 1 in the next 8. We're almost there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 2 in the next one. 1 and 2. We're halfway there for that final round. 1 in the next 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 2 in the next one, and 1 in 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Our last one. 2 in the next one, and 1 in 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Ta-da! We are round, or it's not exactly a round, is it? But we are back to our start. So I'm going to take my stitch marker out, and I'm going to fasten this piece off. Now it is really important that these two pieces are the same size. I know I normally do a slip stitch into that one to finish off, but because I'm going to crochet them together, I'm not going to do that because it's harder to get into a slip stitch. Okay, so we have our two pieces which will be going together. This is why the count is important, because they have to line up those points to points for us to crochet. Okay, so if one's bigger than the other, that's not going to work. So I've got the two pieces. I think that has actually come out slightly bigger, but I think that's the difference in yarn, to be honest. It's so difficult. I find it quite frustrating now. You can buy different brands and they're all different. So please be careful when you are mixing brands, because you will find there is a difference. But on average, I do keep to the same companies, so it's not too bad. But those are two different companies. I do know that. So that's a Stylecraft. That's a Demoris. In fact, no, I think it's the other way around, actually. Yes, because that's a Demoris. Actually, it's not Demoris. I say it wrong. Look, there it is. It's Deramores. My mum tells me off every time because she orders wool as well. And I say, oh, you're going to make an order from Demoris? And she's like, it's not Demoris. I don't know where I got that from, but I keep saying it. Right, we're going to do the little dome on the top now. This is easy peasy after doing that. So I'm going to go for white, but I'm also going to go for the blue because I want to join it to this. I want it to match this edging. So the last row I'm going to do in this blue, and then when I stitch it together, it looks like it's all sort of in one. It's amazing how you can manipulate the colours like that. So we're going to start with our white. And I think you know how it's going to start. We have a slip stitch. Beauty of Amigurumi. In some respects, it's quite comforting because it nearly, not always, depending on how small the item you're making, but it nearly always starts the same. So we're going to start with, yes, you guessed it, 2 chain. And then we're going to have 6 double crochet into that first chain. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Tighten that up if you want to. That one tightened up better than the last one actually as well. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets into each of those 6 to give us our 12. White is difficult for you to see on the camera, so really this is going to be more of a listen to me rather than see it, but it's 2 in each. That was 2 in the first one, 2 in the second one, 2 in the third one, 2 in number 4, 2 in number 5, and 2 in number 6. Tighten that up again. It always loosens up when I do that second round. So we have 12 stitches now. I want 24, so in fact, I'm just having a little look. What have I done there? I'm double checking my pattern. I had a 6. I have. I've not written it properly on my piece of paper. It's a good job I check it before I actually type it up, because I haven't typed it up. We're going to go, yes, you know what we're going to do. We're going to do 2 in each again to give us 24. So 2 in number 1. In number 2. I'll show you why I'm misreading it. Scribble. That's why. My writing's terrible. And I lost count there. I'm going to say that's number 4. I'm going to have to count it at the end now. And number 5. Number 6. 2 in number 7. So they've all got 2 in each, these. 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. I'm going to do a quick count because I don't know that I missed one there. To be honest, with these proportions, it wouldn't be the end of the world either way, but I will do a quick count. But again, you can see why it's really awkward to count as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I need 24, don't I? 21, 22, 23. I'm actually okay. It's really difficult. As you can see, for some reason, white is just, I find it very hard to see. So we now have 24 stitches. You should have 24 stitches. Hopefully you have. If you've got 25 or 23, we'll let you off. So let's use our little stitch marker now, because we're just going to be doing double crochet rounds. So these will be round. You're not going to see any side corners. So it's going to be just a continual spiral, and we're going to do 3 rows in the white. So off we go. 3 rows, 3 rounds even. So I'm not going to count, I'm just going to use the stitch marker at this point. That's halfway for our first round. I do need to get some more amigurumi going. I've got quite a few different projects on at the moment, so it's trying to sort of think which project goes in which pile, so to speak. But I thought I'd go down the little sort of spaceship alien-y sort of route for the next sort of subject matter. I thought that might be quite cute. I've already done a little alien. I'm not sure whether to do him as the video. I'll show you actually, because he's next to me. He's here. Ta-da! If you would like a little alien doing, this is the little guy we're going to be doing. I think he looks quite cute next to his spaceship, although he's not going to fit in that spaceship. Although perhaps it's, I don't know, a magic spaceship. Perhaps it's like a TARDIS, it's bigger on the inside. Right, we are round to our stitch marker. That's 1 round. We need 3 of those. So the next one. Please leave a comment if you have got any suggestions. I'm not saying that I can always make everything. I could have a go, and if it's a successful go, I could then pop it on as a tutorial. Because I know one subscriber suggested doing the chameleon that I did, and you know, I absolutely love, first of all I'm like, oh, a chameleon, but you know, I absolutely love doing him, and I was really pleased with the results. So sometimes it's nice to get somebody else's input. See how it's curling round a little bit here. I'm going to have to push it out to the other side in a second. I'll go one more. You see how it's curling into a little basket? Well, I want it to go the other way, because that is the inside. Where your string's coming from is the inside, and the smoother side is there. So we need another round. It's going to curl back inside out. It always does. You have to, till you get to a certain point, but because this isn't going to be very big, it's not going to get to that point. So you're just going to have to keep pushing it outwards. It looks like little octopuddings in a little bed. That's one of my little octopudding stitch markers there. I do still have some sets on the site if anybody's interested. I'm quite pleased with them. The original drawings, well, the original items were sort of crocheted, and then my daughter did the drawings, and then a friend of ours did the actual digital designs, and then ultimately he became my little mascot. Right, so let's push it back out again. It doesn't want to curve out, does it? Right, let's have a look. I think that's about right. We're going to change our colours. So I can move white out the way completely. In fact, I can move that blue as well, can't we, before we get tangled. Now, this is the dark blue that I've just edged it with. I mean, you can do this any colour. It would look really nice in some sort of bright citrus colours or something like that. So I'm not going to over worry on the method of joining here. I know I have been trying a few methods recently, but for the sake of one round, it's not going to make a huge difference. So I'm just going to pull it in through like that. Yeah, so let me just show you how I did that again. It's nothing exciting. I just pull the yarn through, tighten it up, and then I'm going to carry on by doing a round that will need tying off though, don't forget. So just one round all the way round. I could take the stitch marker out even, because it's sort of useless at this point, because I know as soon as I get back to the blue I have finished that round. I do like this sort of denim type blue. It's weird, I would have always said I'm a green person, not a blue person, but there's been some blues that have come out recently that are just so beautiful that, yes, I've actually moved on to a few blue things. I think, to be honest, I'm not really in anything colour. I just like colour. I just love colour. Nearly there, and then we've finished the little pod. Perhaps it's the little place where the alien sits while he's watching where he's going. Right, I'm going to go into that last one, which was the first one, with a slip stitch, because I can this time. Right, let's fasten it off, and let's not forget to tighten these two where we joined, because it does make a difference. You don't want a little hole there, do you? Now, the thing is, these ends, it's up to you. You can cut them shorter if you want. They're going to be inside where the stuffing is. I usually just sort of push it all inside and sort of use it as the stuffing. Just be careful though, you know, if you've got a dark colour against white, it can actually show up, and that's not very good. We won't be needing the stitch marker again. So that is the top of our spaceship. He's looking good. Looks like a little hat, doesn't it? I'm just obsessed with little hats, aren't I? Right, we need some feet, some little landing gear. So I just made these little sort of balls for that. These I didn't make into full balls. I have changed the pattern slightly since I made this one. So we're going to just make some little amigurumi balls here. Very quick. Slip knot, hook in, and 2 chain. 6 into the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's have 2 into each. So the first one's here. So 2 double crochets into each of these 6. That's the first one. That's the second one. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And our last one, number 6. Tighten up that slip knot. Now we're just going to do 2 rounds of double crochet. We have 12 stitches there, so we'll just count the 12. We don't need a stitch marker for something this size. So here we go. So we have 1, 2. Oh, I think I went 2 in the same one there. I did, didn't I? It's the only problem when a hole sort of makes bigger. Are you inclined to do that? So here we go. 3, I think. I shouldn't just stop myself. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's our first round. Again, properly curling round here. We need to push it out. Another 12 then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and our last one, number 12. Right, now all we're going to be doing from now on is decreasing. So it's going to be 2 double crochets together continually until it is actually closed up. But we do need to remember we need a bit of stuffing in now. So we can do a few before we start stuffing it, because the smaller you can make the hole before you stuff it, the better. But you can't make it too small that you can't get the stuffing in. So 2 together. In one, pull it through. In the second one, pull it through. We should have 3 on the hook. We'll pull it through all 3. That is 2 crochets together. Okay, so we're going to do that again. In, out, in the next one, out. Pull it tight in between, I find, because otherwise you let the little holes. So in, next one, in, pull it through all 3, pull it tight. And one more, I think, before I try some stuffing. Can you see how the hole is getting smaller? So I'm going to take the hook out a second. I'm going to make sure that is tight because I don't want that coming undone at the bottom there. And then we'll just push that in. We'll use that as part of the stuffing. There we go. You'll hardly need any toy stuffing, to be honest, for this little bit. So I'm just going to take a little bit. That might even be too much, to be honest. And we're going to try and push it in. Now the only thing is the stuffing can be a pain when you're then carrying on doing double crochets together, because it can get caught in the actual work. So push it down as far as you can. You can always wiggle it back up afterwards. So hook back in and carry on with the 2 double crochets together. So in the first one, in the second one, pull through all 3. Gets a bit fiddly here. In 1, in 2, pull it through all 3. Can you see a bit of fluff comes through there? It does annoy me when it does that. So in 1, in 2, pull it through all 3. Oh, my stomach's off again. I've got to stop filming because, as I know I've mentioned before, what I do is I get up in the morning because I have to take a few bits of medication. I'm not allowed to eat straight away. So I think, oh, I'll get my videos done and then I'll have my breakfast, and the videos always take longer than anticipated, so then I'm always hungry. So what was I doing? 2 together. Listen, my rumbly stomach. And I'm going to leave it at that. You can stitch that in further if you want, but to be honest, you're not going to see it because it's going to be next to its body. So, and I've just noticed on my lamp, bear with me a second, because the light that's hanging over me is on like a stand, and there's a clip that holds it in position. One of the clips is not in position, so I can see disaster coming. So I'm just going to tighten. That's it, I've done it. Oh, that's all we need is that crashing down on us. So let's just fasten that off. So we have everything we need really that's crocheted. We just need to put it together. So I'm going to put the body of the spaceship together first. I'm hoping you're not going to see a glitch there. I've just stopped and started something because I realised there was something I'd done wrong, so I wanted to do it again for you. I don't want to tell you to do it the wrong way. So basically, as I said, we were lining it up and go into 1 and into 1. And you see, so we've got both parts there. So I'm just going to have to try and do a cut. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but I'll work it out. So if it goes a bit weird at this point, just ignore it for a second and then go on to the next bit. So I have my contrast yarn here. I'm going to pull it through both. I'm going to do a chain, and then I'm going to double crochet back into that space. Now, if you remembered, we did 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but on the corner bit, there was 2 stitches. So what I'm going to actually do is 9. This is where I went wrong on the last one. We're actually going to do 9 stitches, and then we'll do that little picot. Okay, so hopefully this will make sense. So I'm just going to double crochet both together 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, shut up stomach, 9, and number 10 is going to be our little picot. So we're going to do a double crochet into it, but then we're going to do 1, 2 and 3 chain, and then slip stitch back into the same one. Yep, then we're going to do 9 stitches together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Number 10 is going to be double crochet, 3 chain, and slip stitch into the same space. And off we go again for another 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Number 10, you know what to do. We do a double crochet. We do 1, 2, and 3. We slip stitch back into that same stitch. And then we do 9 together again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It is getting sort of heavy to get through this, quite thick yarn. And was that 9? I hope that was 9. We're going for it. So the next one's number 10. So remember, double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitch back in the same space. We're almost there. Don't go all the way around, by the way. We do have to stuff this at some point. That might sound silly, but I've done it plenty of times. So here we go. 1, 2. Just tuck that in out of the way. 3, 4, 5. Go in there, behave. 6, 7, 8. I'm going to pull that string a little bit there. Right, I better not go any further because we need to. I better do number 9. I'll do number 9, then we'll stop, then we'll stuff. Okay. Number. That's because where it started. It's always difficult where it started. Number 9. Right, we need to get some stuffing in here now. So let's grab some of this. Take the hook out. Leave a nice long thread there. Let's push some of these other bits of yarn in as well. Get them out of the way. It's always best to get them out of the way as soon as you can. Don't put the one in though that we're actually crocheting on. All the way in, and stuffing time. Obviously you can make this sort of as fat or as flat as you want. Some spaceships are flat, but I think it looks nice as a nice little chunky one. So it's amazing how much stuffing it can actually take. I need a bit more than that. Make sure you get into all the corners. I don't want any bits that aren't stuffed. Let's have a look. That's my top, isn't it? So let me imagine maybe even a little bit more. I think by the time that's squished about, after we've finished this bit, it will be fine. So let's finish it off, fastening it up with these double crochets and picots. So my next one would have been a picot. So it's harder to hold now because obviously we've got the stuff in. So this was the number 10. So bring it through, double crochet, 1, 2, and 3, and slip stitch back in. Now we're going to be doing one all the way to here, and this last one will be that little picot again. So hopefully your numbers have worked. As long as it's flat, I wouldn't overly worry. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if we do get 8, 9, should I say? 7. Yeah, I think I might have done it. Miracle! Yay! Yeah, really hard to pick up those last 2. We have one more there, and I'm going to go into this one and make it a picot. I will when I can get it in this stitch. Oh, in we go. 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3, and slip stitch back, and we've done it. It's together. Looks a bit of a weird shape at the moment. Pull that tight, and this is when, like I say, you give it a good squish. Amazing how you can shape things with the stuffing depending on where you position it. So it's important to really manipulate it out into your corners, give your corners a little stretch, and you can see we have that little shape there. Now we have this to go on the top. Look how different that makes it already. So with this, if I'd have used my brain a little bit, I would have left a really long end there. That might be enough to stitch it on. Let's get a needle and get rid of some of these edges. We're going to get rid of this one first that's on here. Or we're not if it doesn't want to go through the needle. Ta-da! Right, so I'm going to push it in, push it in. Make sure that's still flat again. I'm just threading it through a few times like I do when I'm doing amigurumi, because I don't want to risk it coming undone, do I? And just trim it off and get rid of that bit of yarn. Now we need to pop this little bit in the centre here. It will need a little bit of stuffing, but we're not going to stuff it until we get partially round. So you have to work out where it's going to sit. I really don't think I have enough yarn there, but we will try, So, advice, leave a long string there. So what I usually do is I make sure that's in the centre, that's where I want it, and then I sort of just squash it down with my finger, turn it over, and then I will start stitching. So I'm basically just taking one part from the dark blue and one part into the spaceship. It's going to be really annoying if I've not got enough yarn, because that means I'm going to have to attach another piece, which you can do because I'm pushing it with this, aren't I? I'll do a couple more and check that I'm holding it central. It's too easy to move it sometimes. Right. Am I holding it central still? I think that looks pretty central. I'll move those out the way. We don't need them yet. So that's a mark on my table. Right, carry on, carry on. Will we get through with this bit of yarn? It's going to be really lucky if I do. I'm having to lean forward here because I know when I stitch together, I pull the work to me. I'm trying not to, so you can see what I'm doing. Nearly there, ready for stuffing. Again, make the hole as small as you think you can, not too small though. Ready to pop that stuffing in there. I think maybe 2 more stitches, and I think we're ready for that. And 1 more, in fact. I might manage it with this wall. It's very close, very close. So right, we need to put some stuffing in that top bit there. I don't want that's going to be too much now. And in we go. A little bit more, a little bit more. Push it right to the back, so as when we're stitching here, it's not going to get in the way. As I say, we just give it a little squish around after the fact, and I think we can finish off this stitching. And I might do it, yeah. I would recommend you still leave a longer piece. I was really pushing it with this one, but it might just do it. It's harder to do it when you know you've only got a tiny bit of yarn left, and you're sort of, it's not going to do it, and then you're sort of trying to work with tiny short pieces, which is not great either, because like now, for example, for me to knot it is harder than if I'd got a nice long piece there. So we can push this through like we usually do, and we can fasten it off. So you can see now we have the little top of our spaceship. Now before I put the feet on, I'm going to actually do these. It's just a long stitch, it's nothing more than that. So nice long piece of yarn this time. There's a fine line between a long piece of yarn that tangles, which is really frustrating, or a piece that's too short and you're really having to fiddle with it. But we need a relatively long piece here. I'm just popping a nice big knot in that bit because I'm going to take it through the body and up to roughly where the first point would be. And you see? Go and get in there. That'll do me. Right, now because it's got a knot in the end, what I'm hoping is, sometimes you do have to push it through, that it's going to push through. I don't think that knot was very good, wasn't it? Let's have a look, see if it'll pull. There we go, it's pulled through, but make sure it's gone all the way through the stuffing because the stuffing sort of holds it. And then all we're going to do, I'm going to go down to this point, then I'm going to shuffle along to that point. Yep, back up to this bit. So it's just really going from point to middle, point to middle, point to middle. Back to the middle. Into a point. Oh, where's my needle? I've lost it. Make sure you've got a long needle when you're doing this. Back to middle. Over to point. The difference that makes already. To a middle, to a point, and back to a middle. Now I'm going to take it through to the other side here because I need to finish it off on where the same colour is. I don't want to sort of take it underneath and finish it off, but because the bottom of this bit is the same colour, I can get away with doing my knot there. And then I can push it through a few times like I do. So we don't want anything coming undone. I think that should hold it. Again, when we've done that, because we're squishing it about, give it a little pull out. And you can see how it makes a massive difference just putting those simple lines in. Now going on to the feet, we will sew just one on. You don't need to see me sew them all on. Although you do need to balance them out because they are obviously a 3. So you need to make sure that they are going to stand on all 3. They're not going to fall over. So I'm having a look at this one and I think about there. I actually like this yellow better. I was doing those a little bit pastel, but I think this one stands out nicer. So it's just a case of picking up a few bits around the edge and stitching into place like anything else. I really like to make sure I do stitch into it well. I know you could get away with just sort of doing a simple stitch and sort of fastening it off, but I do think it needs to have a few more stitches in than that. And I think this will be the last one, and into there. My daughter keeps phoning me and I keep declining. She knows why. She'll know why. But I'll take a little bit longer than anticipated. Right, I'm going to take the yellow all the way through the body of the yellow bit because it is a yellow yarn. I'm starting to lose my voice and I've not brought a drink up. And then we're going to final stitch through. You'll have your own way of doing that. You don't have to do it the same as me. And we have a little foot. So obviously we need 2 more nicely spaced feet. Now the final detail I did on this was these beads. Now these are the beads that I actually used. I'm actually umming and ahhing with to sew these on because I've got to decide what to do with this one. And if it is going where I might think it going, I don't want beads on it. But basically I just stitched on the little bead details all the way around as on here. So I just used a white sewing cotton because it's sort of blended with the gold quite well and the blue. So I just stitched them on, really stitch them on nice and tight. Don't just do one stitch through, do it a few times, because even if it's going to an adult and it's going to be something sat on someone's side, you still don't want to do something that's going to fall apart. So do make sure it is stitched on well. I'll tell you what, it would make quite a cute thing. In fact, most Amigurumi makes this a quite cute thing, is a cat toy. Especially if you've got to catnip. I might have to do a cat toy. That'd be quite fun. My cat will love it if I get some more catnip in. But yes, again, if it's going to be a pet thing, you don't want beads on it. You would maybe stitch on. I always recommend stitching, not gluing. Little bits of felt, or you could just embroider sort of a little shape, a little triangle, a little circle, some little French knots, whatever you like to actually do. So I'm going to finish this little guy off afterwards because he definitely needs its other feet there. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I've got to go and take some photographs of them, so I do need to get this finished so I can get some photos on the thumbnail for you guys to see what it is, the project. Thank you very much for watching. If you do enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe and share. I do try and do a mixture. I know I do quite a lot with the dolls, but I do want to get on with some more Amigurumi, maybe some chocolate orange covers, etc. coming up. So once again, thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon. Don't forget to click on the notification bell as well, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you for watching.